Welcome indie gaming fans, you survived 2023, congratulations, it was an unbelievable year for indie games, some huge releases, perhaps the biggest year in indie gaming history, and you made it the biggest year in I Dream of Indie Games history as well, with over 10,000 new subscribers, nearly 6 million views, and the launch of our Patreon, which has been a huge success. We can't possibly do this kind of content without you. Nobody ever dreamed I Dream of Indie Games would grow to this level, but it really demonstrates the power of indie games. Before we get into celebrating all of the amazing releases, and there were a lot of them, we've picked our favorites, which was very difficult to do. I do want to take a moment to thank all of you, as well as our staff, who worked so freaking hard this year. We really had a lot of help to get through this very, very challenging year. So to Literary Rose, Barely Magic Mike, Legend of the Star, OK Nia, Silent Signs, of course, my partner here through all of it, Stormy Day, Ex-Hardcore Gamer, Ophidian Mind, we appreciate you all greatly. You gave up your time and put so much energy into this channel. And to our amazing Patreon community, where do I even start? You actually donate real money that you work very hard to earn so that we can continue to create independent content. You are the real heroes. You're the reason I get out of bed sometimes 3, 4 in the morning to bring you more indie gaming coverage. I love you beyond words. Thank you. All right, all the sappiness out of the way, let's get into what you're here for, the Indie Game Awards. Just like last year, before we get into all the highlights, here's just a few of the lowlights. Gotta get the ugly out of the way first.
The animations in the Redress of Myra are genuinely, sadly, some of the worst I've ever seen. Myra climbs vines and ladders less naturally than a 90s Chuck E. Cheese animatronic would, and the occasional animals she encounters aren't a whole lot better off, though some are at least passable. Some actions, such as the aforementioned pushing of boxes, don't have an animation associated with them at all, and are just a static image of Myra awkwardly pressing herself against them until the moving is done. These animations, or lack thereof, straddle the line between bad and embarrassing like a drunk tightrope walker, and only add to the game's overall air of slipshod design.
Even worse though, Wanted Dead loves to sporadically crash on players. I fought one atrociously cheap boss named August for a good 45 minutes. Heck, it could almost become September if you were playing this game in August by the time you beat this asshole. And then we have the co-op. Hoping to play with a friend, you can forget about it. It's incredibly frustrating to even attempt to progress together. Hell, player 1 can abandon player 2 entirely, and that might be your only chance of surviving. There's nothing in place to keep the screen from scrolling right past player 2, which sometimes makes the platforming sections near impossible. There's one section where you jump on crocodile heads that jump out of the water at complete random, decimating your health and lowering your progress even further. Remember when DKC2 made jumping on gator heads fun? Not anymore.
A few scripted death animations aside, anytime Griffin dies, he turns into a flailing ragdoll, sometimes glitching out in ridiculous ways, collapsing in the same janky way whether dying from a hot pipe that steam was spraying from or by an unexpectedly exploding firework.
The majority of them have undefeated records of ridiculous amounts of wins. You see 45-0 and you think that's bad, then 100-0 shows up, and the final boss is 999-0? Looks like that in this alien world, boxing is fixed too.
Well, they can't all be winners, folks, can they? But hey, I'd be lying if we didn't have a few laughs along the way. All right, first category now. We're talking about outstanding audio in an indie game, and we have 3 nominees. Sea of Stars. A Space for the Unbound. Ugly. And the winner is A Space for the Unbound. A Space for the Unbound is a narrative-driven game that packs one hell of an emotional punch, and that carries over to the soundtrack, which is full of beautiful piano, strings, hard-hitting melodies that creep up just at the right moment. This is a brilliant set of compositions. While all of the games nominated featured fascinating music, A Space for the Unbound is really a memorable soundtrack. It belongs in your collection and just matches the theme of this game perfectly. And if you haven't played A Space for the Unbound, well, there's a million reasons you should do so. Get out the Kleenex and get to it. What an amazing indie game with an outstanding soundtrack. Well deserved. Alright, next up we're gonna move right along to Best Visuals in an Indie Game for 2023, and here are the nominees. Planet of Lana, Ravenlock, The Talos Principle 2,
Of a world of ruins, they have built a new Jerusalem. And there your brothers and sisters await you to celebrate your birth.
Alright, in the end there can only be one, but good news, you can own all of these games and they're all beautiful. But the winner here at I Dream of Indie Games goes to Planet of Lana. This game is really slept on by a lot of people. It is absolutely gorgeous. Fantastic animations, stunning backdrops, amazing looking character designs, beautiful environments. What a stunning masterpiece of an indie game. It was one of my favorite games of the year, and who knows, maybe it will be my favorite, but you'll have to stick around to the end of the video to find that out. Planet of Lana is visually striking, and if you slept on this one in 2023, shame on you. Get to it. Play this one. Awesome game. You won't regret it. Alright, you know we love indie games because they push new boundaries, they try different things, and that's why we have this next category, Most Innovative Release for 2023. Here are the nominees. Dredge, Karmazoo,
Karmazoo.
World of Horror, You know, this was a tough one to decide because all three of these games really deserve props for trying something unique and different and being so successful. Dredge mixing horror with fishing. Who would have thought that would turn into such a phenomenon this year? World of Horror, I mean, gosh, just look at this game. There's really nothing like it. And Karmazoo, it takes online gaming in an entirely different direction that I didn't even know is possible, basically canceling out angry gamer culture and making just a really peaceful, fun online environment that's unlike anything I experienced. So at the end of the day, while I have such tremendous respect for all three releases, I do have to go with Karmazoo. I just never had an online experience quite like this. It's so cozy and peaceful and relaxing, stress-free. It doesn't get you angry at all. There's no real toxic voice chat going on. It's an experience unlike anything out there, and I don't really know how well this game is doing. I haven't heard a ton about that, and I haven't kept up with it, but I sure hope it's at least found some degree of an audience because I do feel like its influence is going to be felt, and we're going to see more and more developers find ways around toxic angry gamer culture and make these online experiences that anyone will feel comfortable in. Karmazoo is a fantastic game. If you aren't familiar with it, you work together in a team of animals or other creatures, gathering good karma together and spreading positive vibes while doing a little bit of fun platforming along the way. And heck, it's a really cool party game too if you want it to be. By the way, I should mention we will have links to all of the nominees and winners in the description box below so you can enjoy those full reviews if you want to learn more about them and add them to your wishlist or even your library. Congratulations to Karmazoo, our most innovative release for 2023. Okay, we move from the most innovative title from 2023 to the best narrative, and there were a lot of well-written games this year, but I've narrowed it down to our three favorites. Sea of Stars, A Space for the Unbound, Ugly. Wow, the exact same nominees from audio. That's kind of weird. And the winner is Ugly. So if you haven't played Ugly, and I know a lot of you out there haven't, what the heck are you doing? This puzzle game is absolutely amazing. The beautiful soundtrack, gorgeous graphics, and clever puzzles make this one of the great releases of 2023 that got completely slept on. But we're here to talk about the narrative, which is really heartfelt in Ugly, surprisingly so, and it will leave you scouring Reddit or asking questions, wondering just exactly what it was all about, like some of the great games do. Ugly has some hard-hitting themes that for me personally hit home as you deal with alcoholism and your personal appearance, and it's really compelling. It's actually a very sad story in a lot of ways. I've been in the Discord since Ugly released, shouting to the moon for it. I've shouted it out on this channel plenty of times too. You gotta play Ugly, it's so beautiful. Alright, so for every great year, there's always a few stinkers, unfortunately, that get through. We are on to the most disappointing game for 2023, the award that nobody really wants, but we have 3 games, and honestly, this was one of the harder ones to decide on this entire list. Here we go, Stray Souls. Enchanted Portals. Wanted Dead.
Protest, plant the charge.
What the hell is in that crate?
They're getting away.
There's more. 12 o'clock. Enemy spotted.
Run!
And the winner for me goes to Wanted Dead. Look, this was an awful way to kick off the year. Wanted Dead was the game on this list that I feel like had some degree of hype and expectation behind it, whereas Enchanted Portals, yeah, it stunk, but we never really expected it to be all that great here at the channel anyways. Stray Souls, kind of a similar situation. This game didn't look great in previews, the demo wasn't fun at all, and I didn't have high expectations, so it wasn't a huge shock to me when they were bad games. You're still disappointed when any game doesn't come out good, but Wanted Dead, I feel like there was real enthusiasm behind it, and heck, there are some people out there that still defend this game in the comments to this day. I don't quite understand it because this game was absolutely dreadful. The cutscenes are laughably bad with terrible voice acting. The gameplay isn't fun at all. It's this mix of Gears of War with Ninja Gaiden all cobbled together. Bad storytelling, mediocre performance. Actually, mediocre is being nice. This game ran bad. It crashed a bunch. Doesn't look that great. Wanted Dead was dead on arrival. Sorry, folks that like it out there, but I'm just telling you how it is. Really bad game, very disappointing start to my year, and it's one that stuck with me for all the wrong reasons all the way up to this point. This game was a broken mess, and I'm a little fearful of all the people that did defend it because it might mean we get more broken products in the future, unfortunately. This game really stunk, I'm sorry. Alright, so obviously this was a jam-packed year full of unbelievable releases. Can't possibly mention them all here, but here's a quick little rundown of some of our favorites that we didn't get to nominate just because there are so many unbelievable indies. They all deserve recognition. I wish I could give every single game individual recognition, but that's what we try to do on this channel, so go back and watch all of our 2023 videos. We probably covered about 70 to 80% of the indie scene this year. So hit up those playlists. Review playlist will have so many games that you could have potentially missed out on that might be your next favorite indie. All right, here we go. Here are the honorable mentions that I believe still belong in your collection. Backfire Wall, which is a really fun little first-person puzzler, has that Portal sense of humor. Clever little title this was. A lot of people slept on it. It came out pretty early in the year, so add this one to your collection if you were a fan of Portal, you don't mind first-person gameplay, and you're up for its sense of humor. You want more information? Like all of our games, like I mentioned earlier, there is a review for it, so links below. Next game I have to give props to, it's Grim Guardians Demon Purge. Well, technically now it's Gal Guardians Demon Purge, but that was a whole other story. The name was changed. Either way, This game was awesome. It was my favorite Metroidvania of the year. I know it's not really a traditional Metroidvania in a lot of ways. There is a heavy emphasis on the two-player element. The map isn't super robust, but there's a lot of replayability to this game. The story is actually really funny. It plays great. It looks great. I really think this was one of the better releases of the year as well. So definitely check out Gal Guardians if you have yet to do so. We also had The Pale Beyond. That review is down below. I didn't play this one myself, but heard nothing but good things about the narrative. Very hard-hitting, emotional title, so The Pale Beyond deserves a shout out as well. Meg's Monster, a cute little RPG. Silent Signs loves this developer. Be sure to check out Meg's Monster, and a lot of their previous games are worth checking out too, like Bear's Restaurant, for example. We love Odin Cat here. They just make adorable little releases. The Last Spell was another Golden Genie Lamp winner here at the channel, a tactical game that has a lot of style to it. Hard-hitting metal soundtrack, very dark, very gritty. Tactics aren't my normal thing, but I know Barely Magic Mike really enjoyed that game. 9 Years of Shadow, a wonderful musical Metroidvania, very colorful, bright, vivid, a highly memorable game, definitely worth your time as well. How about Ocho, huh? It's the Hotline Miami game I've been waiting for. It has some really neat rogue elements, a wonderful art style. Gosh, I've been dying for a new Hotline Miami. Give it to me, Devolver, but Ocho definitely held me over in the meantime. Super addicting, super stylistic, fun gameplay, affordable game, one a lot of people again slept on, so be sure to check out Ocho if you haven't. It's OTXO, by the way. It is not spelt like it sounds. We had the lovely Literary Rose give a Golden Genie Lamp to Showgunners. I don't know a ton about this game other than the fact that in her review, she really enjoyed her time with it, tactics-based. Another one that really seems to have been forgotten completely. I almost never hear this game brought up, but it did release this year, so if you missed Showgunners, be sure to check that out. I always trust Rose's recommendations. She's pretty good about that stuff, so I imagine it's worth your time. A few other quick shout-outs, not to overshadow anything, but Dordogne, Barely Magic Mike, really loved this game. It looks like a painting come to life. Gotta play this one myself still, so it's on my wish list. I am going to pick this up, and hopefully over winter break, it's one of the many that I'll get to play that I missed out on personally. Dr. Fetus Mean Meat Machine. A lot of you out there didn't like this game. I don't quite understand it. This was a really fun Puyo-style puzzle game mixed with Meat Boy elements. Yes, it's not perfect, but I still think this was a great little puzzler. I loved playing it on the Steam Deck in particular. A nice one to have on the go. I recommend it myself. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Had to get it on this show. I really enjoyed Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, even more than I was expecting. It had been years since I played Jet Set Radio, and obviously I think Sega took a hint here seeing the success of this game, because they did just recently announce that a bunch of their classics are coming back in a new form. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk maybe just played a little bit of a role in that decision. I don't know, but either way, this game really outclassed Jet Set Radio in a lot of ways. Has a really compelling narrative. In fact, now that I think about it, it at least deserves a shout out in the narrative category. But overall, this game is pricey, but well worth every dollar, trust me. How about Chants of Sennaar, huh? I think Barely Magic Mike has this on his personal favorites list as well. This was a game all about language. I've not gotten around to it myself. Shame on me, I know, but it does look phenomenal. He's been raving about it ever since he played it. So Chants of Sennaar, shout out to them as well. Eternights, for you Persona fans out there, Eternights definitely seem to scratch that itch. It's not often you see an indie really nail that formula, but this game had a good social element to it. The combat looks pretty fun, cool style to it. Another one that, shame on me, I need to play. Gotta be honest with you, I'm not the Persona guy normally, it just drags a little bit, but maybe the pacing of this one will be a little quicker and I'll enjoy it more. So yeah, there you have it. That's a taste of a lot of the amazing indie releases that came out in 2023. I hope we've paid great respect to many of them. Before we get to our Game of the Year, we do have some staff choices to go over. Barely Magic Mike and Ophidian Mind did submit lists of games that they want to pay respects to. We'll start with Barely Magic Mike. He had 5 selections in ranked order, so I guess this will be a little bit of a countdown. At number 5, he chose Let's Revolution. At number 4, he chose the puzzler Cocoon. Number 3, Chants of Sennaar, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. Number 2, Ugly, which we've already shown some love here. And his number 1 game of the year was the excellent-looking Dredge. That mix of fishing and horror really got to Mike. He enjoyed that game a lot. Thank you, Mike, for that submission. And our dear Ophidian Mind listed 10 games. At number 10, he had Wandering Sword. Number 9, he had Touhou Artificial Dream in Arcadia. Number 8, Gal Guardians Demon Purge. I'm definitely with you on that one. Number 7, Eternights. Number 6, Path of the Midnight Sun, which, by the way, is phenomenal. I can definitely vouch for that one. Number 5, Darkest Dungeon 2. Number 4, The Last Faith, which I really enjoyed. I only got to play 3 hours for that preview that I did for the channel, but I really liked it as well. Number 3, World of Horror. Number 2, for him, Lies of P. Can't agree with you on that one, but hey, glad you enjoyed it. A lot of people did. And his number 1 game of the year, as he was a huge fan of the original, was Blasphemous 2. I'm sure a lot of you were waiting for that one to be shouted out at some point on this show, so there you go, it gets its respects. And sorry to any of your favorite games that I missed out on, but you know, we could be here for the next year talking about 2023. That's how freaking good it was. So without further ado, let's get to the I Dream of Indie Games fan selection of the year. You voted on it, folks. We went through numerous polls in the community section, which, by the way, if you're not a part of our community section over on the YouTube channel, get involved. We ask fun questions every day. The conversations are a riot over there. Really cool stuff. You voted over the course of about a month for Sea of Stars, which faced very stiff competition, but was easily the I Dream of Indie Games fan selection game of the year. And it's hard to argue with this nostalgic JRPG, which was so well made, so beautifully crafted, great soundtrack, great pixel art. Loved the story. Another one that really pulled at the heartstrings this year. Congratulations to those folks. That game's gotten so much recognition, and it's all well deserved. Obviously, there's a huge craving for these JRPGs of yore still. It's good to see that Sea of Stars was such a wonderful success. Okay then, for as hard as it was to narrow this list down, we got it to 3. The nominees for the I Dream of Indie Games official Indie Game of the Year: Sea of Stars, Ugly, and Vernal Edge. And the winner is... drum roll, please. Somebody edit it in. Here we go. I Dream of Indie Games Game of the Year is Ugly. That's probably not the one you were expecting to hear. It's not the one we were expecting to announce early into this year, but wow, Ugly really floored me in Silent Signs. Its brilliant puzzle design, stunning soundtrack, the visual design, the compelling story that hit home. Everything about Ugly just makes it an indie classic, and I'm so disappointed that it appears like it's not selling a lot of copies if Steam analytics are anything to go by, because if you slept on Ugly, you made one of the biggest mistakes of 2023. This game is outstanding from top to bottom. Of course, Sea of Stars is a great JRPG, not taking anything away from it. It was probably pretty damn close to winning this award, but at the end of the day, it couldn't quite pull it off. Ugly was the game that really stuck with us, and Vernal Edge, I gotta give a lot of respect to Vernal Edge because I do believe this is another game that is severely overlooked. Fantastic dungeon design, great graphics, great combat. Vernal Edge is a special indie release. All 3 of these games belong in your collection without a doubt, but Ugly takes the upset, folks. Let us know in the comments below, though. What do you think of all the nominees? I hope we've done a good job paying respect to some of the great indies that perhaps a lot of you didn't even hear of. The more mainstream awards aren't going to talk about a lot of these, and it was my privilege to serve you throughout 2023 and bring a voice to so many of these wonderful indies. Congratulations to you, the consumer, who voted with your wallets and picked up so many of these beautiful, inspiring indie games. Thank you for allowing us to be able to live our dream here at I Dream of Indie Games. You know, I'm just a guy, I don't have a college degree or anything fancy like that. I've always wanted to talk about video games, but I never really knew how to get my foot in the door. You all gave me that opportunity. It means the world to me. It's not the conventional way, it's not the way I expected to be involved in games, but here I am, 4 years later, me, Silent Signs, this talented staff. I really owe it all to you for watching. Whether you posted a hate comment, whether you posted your love, whether you watched a video once or twice, or you told some friends about us, it means the world that I've been able to do this for 4 unbelievable years, spreading indie awareness and fighting for indie game visibility. We wish you all the best holiday ever, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. Onward, our work has just begun. Let's do it for 4 more years, what do you say? And get this channel to 100,000 subscribers and really bring a voice to independent games once and for all. This show and this moment belongs to you. Take care, everybody, and I will see you on the channel next year, but there's plenty of content rolling out that I've already stacked for you for the rest of 23. Take care. Happy New Year, everybody. I will see you for a jam-packed 24. Voice to the voiceless.